Ready to
Well,
rumble.
yeah, welcome everyone. We are very excited for today's webinar. This is Fran Horvath and, of course, Sue Bell. And we are going to talk to you today about the easiest recurring income stream ever. And if you guys know Sue and myself, you know that we are not hypey kind of people. I'm extremely blunt, and Sue's she's a technologist, so she just tells it like it is. So when we say something like that, you might want to pay attention because it's going to be exciting. All right, Missy, are you in control of the slideshow?
I am in control.
Right. So some of you may have heard about this before, and we actually did a webinar the other day, but we're going to go into completely different information on this one because of all the questions that people were asking. So if you want to go ahead and hit the next slide, we will just get right into it. And I guarantee you guys that you have, even if you are familiar with this strategy, you have never seen anything like the way it's put together here. So just hang on tight. All right, so oops, nope, you missed one.
Oh.
Grab a share of every credit card purchase. So guys, what we're talking about is, imagine that you are a banker, a credit card company, and the reason that they're in business, right? The reason that every company on the planet, every business, every merchant, the big retailers, the banks, the airlines, the hotels, everybody has their own credit card. Why? Why do they do that? Because they get a percentage of every piece of every dollar that you spend. There's money in it, obviously. We all think as consumers, all the money is in the fees they charge you. Well, yeah, the banks get that part, but the merchants, they make money on it as well. And we're going to show you how you can get a little piece of the credit card spend on every one of your customers and every purchase they make associated with this offer. We are going to talk about, imagine, if you guys are digital marketing agencies, SEO agencies, local marketers, you obviously sell to small, medium-sized businesses. And right now, you know what you're dealing with, trying to sell to these businesses. What if you could actually walk into a business and tell them that you can advertise them on Bank of America, Virgin Airlines, Southwest Airlines, Yelp, with no upfront cost at all? And what if you, as a marketer, didn't have to do any of the fulfillment? You didn't have to run the advertising. You didn't have to train anybody on anything, and there really is literally no learning curve for you. You just make money on every transaction. Anybody interested?
So let me ask you, Fran. You've got clients at this point. You worked for like 2-3 weeks to get quite a pile of clients.
Don't exaggerate. I mean, don't be hypey. I think I worked for like 4 or 5 weeks, even though I was in Ohio for one of those weeks.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, 4 or 5 weeks. I still remember it as 2 or 3. But anyway, and obviously, like, you talked to them for a few minutes and explained the program, and then they said yes to it, and you gave them the thingy where they filled in the form and they got onboarded. Since they've been onboarded, have you talked to any of those companies?
Yeah, a couple times. There's a whole process that we train on, and it's important for you to actually communicate with them the first few months. And I'll go into that later, and I'll go into that in our sales training. But once you establish your relationship and the merchant understands how the process works, you just touch base with them once in a while. The first few months is just to make sure how's everything going, kind of thing. So I've literally, had a couple of phone calls. I was on Skype chatting with one customer yesterday who just started, the shoe company. And I've had the restaurant that, as you know, there was a mistake and they actually accidentally got turned off because literally they said that they didn't want to do this. They didn't believe it. They thought it was too good to be true. And I already saw somebody in the chat saying it sounds too good to be true. Some of the merchants are going to say the same thing. So once we got her turned on, her sales started immediately. And somebody accidentally turned her off because she had told us that she was, questioning whether she wanted to go forward with this. And the whole story is in the other webinar. We talked about how she went to Bank of America, and the rep there said, nobody sells our rewards programs except us. So she didn't believe me. So that led to the whole event. So once she got turned on and we started sending her traffic, and not just traffic, guys, sales, walking in the door, spending money with her for free, she was freaking out when she found out we turned her off accidentally. So yeah, I've had conversations with merchants after the fact, but most of it is just, management, just the TLC stuff in the beginning so they understand the program.
Interesting.
But I will get to all that.
Yeah, somebody asked how you see the other webinar, and it's on our YouTube channel, but we'll give you links for everything at the end.
It's in the Facebook group. We'll give you, that's where we'll put all the replays too.
Yeah.
Okay, so a lot of the questions were about who can sell this, who's this for, what kind of businesses. So for you guys, it's for any agency, local marketer, even brand new marketers, anybody who's trying to get in. You can add it to what you're already selling to people. If you're brand new, you can go out without any credibility, without a website, without any experience. You don't have to have a list. This is the typical, internet marketing. Anyone can do this and be a millionaire tomorrow. That's not what we're saying, but literally anyone can do this. If you have a phone and an internet connection, I don't care where you live in the world. Right now, we're just selling to U.S. businesses. Canada is getting set up now, but you can sell this from anywhere. And I literally have never met a single one of the clients I brought on board. I did it by computer. I emailed them a cold email, and then got on the phone with them after they said, I'm interested. I never called a single cold call. I only talked to people who raised their hand after they got the email. So anyone can do this regardless of experience. If you're an agency and you already have local businesses, not every local business will work. Not every market works. But if you think about local service businesses, those all work. Restaurants all work. They're actually how this all got started. So anyone can do it, and we'll give you a list of the niches that work, the ones that are ideal, and then there are some that you cannot do. And some of those are kind of no-brainers, you'll understand. But yeah, this is for anyone. If you can walk into a business and tell them you can advertise them on Bank of America, Virgin Airlines with no upfront cost, you can do this. If you could send out an email that says that, you can do this.
So the cool thing about this, the really cool thing about this, is that you can control the amount of time that you spend in it. So what Fran was doing when she was sending out that email is she was sending a link to her calendar, and so she can define on her calendar what hours she wants people to call, and they got to call within those hours. So this is how you can manage it if you're in Australia or New Zealand or the UK. You can, you get those hours on your calendar where that you can do and that are available. They're reasonable US hours, and that'll all work.
Yeah, and literally I did not have a lot of availability for psychological reasons and also for my time. I was doing this, I was selling just to prove the concept. So I wanted to work, obviously, whenever I wanted to work and had time. So I would have I set up 15-minute calls. That was it. I scheduled 15-minute calls, and I'd have a couple of them available. And throughout the week, I might have had, I don't know, depending on the week, 5 or 6, 7 availabilities. So people had to, really work around my schedule to make appointments with me. I literally made it hard for people to do business with me, and still did fairly well.
Yep.
Okay. Guys, we can go to the next slide. This is a $1 trillion opportunity. And when you get that, you will understand why this is one of the bleeding edge things that we're talking about. It's not super sexy like some of the other things that we have, but it's got teeth. So there was an article, TechCrunch was the first one, I think, that called the OTO a $1 trillion opportunity. They say that the average American earns $40,000 a year. And I know because we're all online marketers, we have a tendency to think that all business is done online now. Nobody buys locally.
It
Well,
is, isn't it? Wait.
yeah, that's
Sorry.
not actually even remotely close to what happened. We're all obsessed with e-commerce and Amazon and, online traffic and searching for how much traffic a certain keyword gets, and you think that this is the whole world. Well, the reality is people research online, but 93% of all purchases, all dollars spent, are still spent locally. So that's huge, and that's why this is a $1 trillion opportunity. There was a next slide.
Oops.
The enormous volume of offline spending, according to the Chamber of Commerce, again, they repeated the same statistics, that 93% of purchases still take place offline. So what they're saying is people search online and then they buy offline, and the connection between the two is where the opportunity is, because this is where the fail has been. This is where no one has been able to make the connection, track the sales. Everybody knows when we first started doing social media marketing back in 2007, the big thing with businesses was, how do I make money at this? How do I know what I'm doing online is going to generate sales? And it just didn't in the beginning, and for a very long time. Now we can actually track these sales, and we'll get more into that. But what I want you to understand here and get through your little opportunity radar going is that nobody is filling this need properly. There's no one that hits all, and we'll talk about it, I think, on the next slide, but nobody's hitting all the pain points. So the next slide, yep. Okay, so almost all sales are starting online, but the problem is bridging that gap, how you get them from online to walk into your store. It's wide open. No one's doing it. The challenge is not only to drive the traffic, but to be able to track it and to be able to say, what I'm doing here is resulting in X amount of dollars there. So I think the next couple of slides I put in just because the pictures are pretty and they're basically saying the same thing. So 280 million Americans are online, and they're spending 11 hours a day online. I mean, literally, we're all online 24 hours a day, right? I mean, you've got your phone. When you wake up in the middle of the night to get a drink of water or whatever you do, you look at your phone. We're online all the time. 93% of e-commerce is still offline. Now it's not even, I mean, it's a $4.5 trillion business per year. So the challenges for local businesses, the next slide, Sue, when you try to sell, and this is a challenge every digital marketer and SEO has always had, is people, and especially now, I mean, local businesses get bombarded every day. If you're in there doing a sales call, you will probably be interrupted by someone on the phone calling the business owner trying to sell them something while you're there presenting. If that hasn't happened to you, you probably don't do a whole lot of walk-in sales. But it happened to me every single time I ever did a walk-in sale or presentation. And most, how do I say this? Let's just say results varied considerably from marketer to marketer. And merchants are tired of it. They're tired of paying for things that they don't see results from. So they want proof. They want to know what you're going to be able to do for them. They want, not only is it authority and credibility, but they literally want you to deliver something before they give you any money. Has anybody had that? I mean, do you run into that? Yes, exactly, Nick. I mean, yeah, there's people legitimately dishonest, but so much of it is that people just take online courses and because they know a little bit more than the business owner, they go out and try to sell something that they really have no idea how to fulfill. Yep. Okay, so a lot of you who have been in marketing for a while can relate. Okay, so the other thing is the tracking. How do you track what you're doing as a marketer to the sales that you're generating? And there's some things, right? Pay-per-call, pay-per-click kind of things. You can track a lot of things. But for the most part, a lot of the work that you do, you can't directly say, we did this and generated that. And people do not want to pay without seeing results. They just are tired of it. The business owners are tired of getting taken advantage of. And we used to talk about how to sell against this, how to work around this, how to build up your credibility. Now we can actually use it in our favor because we don't need to solve these problems anymore. Where are we?
Who has
Okay.
tried?
Oh, yeah, Groupon. All right. So everybody who knows, who's been in this business for a while, even if you haven't, if you're a brand new marketer, you know what Groupon is, right? They were the big, like the big one that tried to solve this online to offline problem. Well, we all know what happened with them. They not only did they take most of the sale from the merchant, but they literally put businesses out of business. And I used to, when this first came out, always jumping on the wave, right? I sold these kind of programs before, and my workaround was you have to know how. You can't sell anything in a vacuum. So you have to know how to use this promotion and keep those clients coming back. And most people didn't have any kind of back-end sales, so that's how we were able to sell this and make it work for people. But again, huge fail. Yeah. Most businesses that use Groupon now, even if they do know how to market and retain some of the clients that they bring in, they hate it. They hate every bit of it. It's a pain. It's the quality of clients that come in are usually not correlating with the kind of clientele that is their ideal. So even if they use it as a stopgap, they don't like it, and it costs them so much money. So now we're not trying to sell against them anymore. We're replacing the need for them. So now imagine if you could literally advertise local businesses for free and only bill them after you drive them sales, not traffic, not clicks, not views, actual sales. And the business owner doesn't have to do anything literally to sign up for this. I mean, yeah, guys, there's something. They have to talk to you. They have to, you have to explain the program. But literally, once you're done with explaining the program, to get set up, it takes the business owner a few seconds to fill out a form. And you get a percentage of every single transaction that's generated from this sale, from this merchant for life. And they don't leave the program because you're sending them business for free. It's the retention. We've only been doing this for, the Empire's only been doing this for a short amount of time. And in the time that they've been doing it, their retention is about, 98% for the lifetime that they've been offering this. So before this particular program has been available, almost no small business, no medium-sized business has been able to use it. So now that the small and medium-sized businesses have been able to use it, once they get it and they understand it, then they never leave. And all of this is happening while you don't have to do anything. You don't have to fulfill. You don't have to chase down payments. You don't have to prove your value. You just advertise the business on hundreds of the world's top publishers, like Bank of America, Chase, Southwest Airlines. They give away something. You give away something that someone wants, and you get paid over and over and over again. Anybody think they could do that? Give away free advertising? If we train you right? Okay. All right, so here's how it works, guys. The merchant, the client walks into the store and buys something with a credit card that's automatically linked to your advertising. Without the client or the merchant dealing with any coupons, nothing. They just, the merchant doesn't have to do any bookkeeping. They don't have to take any coupons. They don't have to have an app, nothing. The merchant doesn't have to track anything. There's no bookkeeping. There is a dashboard where they can see all the transactions, but you literally walk in the door, the client walks in the door, buys something, and that's it. I mean, there's nothing more to say. They buy something, the customer gets their reward because of our technology on the back end. The merchant gets invoiced for the marketing fee. It's clean, it's simple. There is nothing that you will sell to a merchant, to a small local business, medium-sized business, that is easier to fulfill, deliver, implement than this. Because you don't literally do, the technology does all the heavy lifting. And we're going to tell you exactly how it works, but I want you to understand the concept that this is better than coupons. Clients hate that. Merchants can't manage it. Do you think that a business could handle doing business exactly the same way they always have and just get sales walking in the door from you?
So we get 2 or 3 questions in the Q&A box. So if I can just back you up for a second. Before the client walks into the store and buys something, the client sees an offer either on an app or online. There's 1,500 different merchants that are or companies that are advertising. Over 1 million different, I think it's 1 million different websites, right? 1 million different.
No, well, no, 1,500 different publishers.
1,500 publishers and a million people.
Yeah, millions of consumers are visible to those publishers. So the publishers show the ads. We're going to get into the details later, but
yeah,
it's basically your merchant's ad is shown to the consumer. They see it with the banks, the credit card, the hotels, the airlines. The cards are already attached to those things, so they don't have to do anything except, you guys all know what this program is. You log into your bank every day to check on, whatever charges you put through or whatever money you receive, and you see an offer for something like $5 off Starbucks. That's what this is. But you don't have to be Starbucks to do this now. You could be the local Mexican restaurant. So we'll get into the details in just a little bit.
Yeah. So they see that, they associate their card with that, and then they go from the online to the offline. They walk into the store and they use that same credit card to purchase the product or their whatever their purchase is. Right. And that's when they get the I'm trying to read your thing, and the words on the screen just are not meshing up with what it is I want to say. That's when they get the reward, and they get their reward immediately. So she'll get into all of those details, but I just wanted to, there were several questions, so I wanted to answer those. And we'll show you exactly what the ads look like. It's different on each publisher, so you'll see some of those examples here in a minute.
Okay, guys. And then every single transaction that's generated by your free advertising that you give away to businesses without having to collect money, sell anything up front, or fulfill a thing, you get paid. So I know everybody's saying it sounds too good to be true, but if it was true, how would that sound? Nope, it's not display ads. No. Yeah, it's pretty awesome, guys, and this is absolutely legit. And when you see what it is, because like I said, you are already exposed to it. You use these programs yourself. You just haven't been able to sell them, and your merchants haven't been able to use them. Okay, and you guys are now, you have a huge differentiation. Nobody there. This is so new. There are a very small number of people who are able to offer this, and we'll get into it in the training why what we're doing is so different. Because there are, obviously you walk into a business and some of them have rewards programs with, they do American Express rewards, but they don't have 1,500 publishers all in one place without having to do anything to get it set up. So businesses get the clients walking in their front door without any upfront cost. The clients get the deals with no coupons. They just get to pay like they normally do. And you get a share of every single transaction by giving away free advertising for free. I'm trying to point out that it's free. All right. So here it is, guys. This is what it is. It's called cost per revenue. Next slide, please.
I see that. Sorry.
It's okay. So it's not, you all know about cost per click, cost per impression, all these different things.
Pay-per-view.
Yeah, we're talking about cost per revenue. So this is not paying for leads, not paying for your services, they're not paying you for some mysterious, SEO work. They're only paying for in-store purchases that you have driven for them. Okay? This is solving the 93% of sales that start online and end up offline. Nobody else can offer something like this. If you're on the front of the wave, and once you get a business on board with you, it's it, you're golden. This is something that will pay you for as long as that business is still in business. And literally, there can be a point where they don't need you anymore because they have so much business they can't handle it, right? So then you have other issues, right? You have other things you can sell them. But literally nobody leaves this program. Okay, so let me get into like the details, the nitty gritty, everything that you actually are wanting to know about. So merchants are marketed online all over the place. So everywhere that you could see an ad practically on, the banks we keep talking about because they're the high visibility ones. They're a huge credibility when you say you are part of the rewards program, selling part of the rewards program for Bank of America. Microsoft, specialty apps, Yelp, search results, Swagbucks, which is a specialty app, Living Social. There's 1,500 participating websites and apps, and that's growing all the time. And there's over 100 million consumer reach. This is what it looks like. If you go to the next slide, this is what it looks like when somebody goes to Yelp and searches for El Rio Mexican restaurant. Next slide, please. So they just see that there's a 10% cashback offer that your merchant is offering. And here's the interesting thing. If anybody sells against Yelp out in the real world, you know that merchants don't really like Yelp, that they sell all kinds of stuff, all kinds of advertising that doesn't really work. But here's the thing. Yelp doesn't actually sell this, but we advertise on Yelp. We buy this space. And if your merchant is part of this program, their 10% back offer to the consumer is going to show up before somebody who pays Yelp directly for advertising. Isn't that crazy? Because they know it actually works and the consumers like it. So what happens is somebody sees that, they go searching on Yelp for a Mexican restaurant in wherever, Peachtree City, Georgia. The restaurant pops up, they see cashback offer, they click enroll, they say, okay, I'd like to link my XYZ credit card with it, and then they go to the restaurant with that credit card. Okay, the next one is what it looks like on some of the banking apps. This is actual Bank of America deals. So when you log into Bank of America, then you will see, now when we say ads, you'll see here, get 10% off your next trip to your dealership. So come dine at Applebee's. That's the ad for the banking platform. And then you see above the Applebee's reward, congratulations, you earned $5 and whatever that says, 65 cents cash back. This is what it looks like in their banking statement. And every bank is a little bit different, but you get the picture. So you go in and you log into your bank and you say, I would like to have this offer for Applebee's. And you just click it, right? Your card is already connected because it's your Bank of America account. You go to Applebee's, you pay with your Bank of America card, and then in whatever amount of time it happens, some of the platforms, all the platforms are different, but within 30 days or so, the reward is put back into your account and you see it right there. And one of the things that we haven't talked about yet is that this is conquest marketing. So as you can see on this example, this particular person went to Outback. Bank of America knows what you're spending your money on because, they see everything. And they say, Applebee's is on our program, on our rewards program. We'll offer this person who goes to Outback the Applebee's reward because we know people who go to Outback are going to want to go to Applebee's. So it works to try and steal your competitor's business and to generate new business for the merchant. So it's not just stealing competitors. So the intelligence that credit card companies have now is ridiculous. They know if somebody buys X, Y, and Z, they're likely to buy A, B, and C. So if they know that I go to get massages or I go to a yoga studio, I'm more likely to also go to the health food store or to go get massages. So they're going to offer me promotions that I am likely to purchase. So it's brilliant marketing. Next. This is what it looks like on Hawaiian Airlines. And again, we just wanted to show you some of the different ads so you understand what we're talking about when we're talking about ads. Some of them are just going to show like the logo and the offer. And that's, kind of like what the airlines do. So that's what it looks like here. And again, Southwest Airlines, Hawaiian Airlines, they have their own credit cards. So this is already, they just have to select the offer and it's already connected with that rewards card. All right, so guys, the next slide, please. This is across like the top publishers, the top companies, the top businesses in the world participate in this. So a lot of them that you will know, like Bank of America and PNC and Yelp and Yellow Pages. And there's also apps, salons, gyms, big names that some of them that you've never heard of, but are appropriate for different niches. The technology knows which publishers are going to drive traffic to which type of businesses. So if you happen to bring on board a gym, they're going to show it everywhere that it's appropriate, which is pretty much everywhere. They would even show it on the food app, on everywhere except for the food apps, I would think, like mobile.
What?
No, they're going to show it on the food apps too. That's right.
Yeah.
I've actually had, I've had some really strange businesses like you would think wouldn't go on a food app, and they're showing everybody on the food app just because it's also local targeting. So it's not going to be showing them if they're a local business, it's not going to show on somebody searching for a place to dine in Atlanta if they live in Peachtree City, unless it's a vacation spot. So it's going to be appropriate marketing. Okay. So again, there's nothing for the merchant to install. There's nothing for you to train on. The next slide, Sue. People are using the program to find dine and shop at businesses all the time. So this is part of the presentation on how you promote this to the business. They don't have to do anything, and that nothing changes for them. The guest always pays the full price. It's just additional revenue. No coupons. The customer just pays like they normally do. So how it works, and for the example, the next slide is showing you Yelp. So again, on the Yelp offer, I search for whatever, my favorite coffee shop. So I search for coffee shop when I'm traveling, for example. So I don't know where Starbucks is when I'm in Scottsdale. Actually, I do. Say I didn't. I would search for it, and obviously Yelp is going to show up in a lot of the local search results. So I click on Yelp, and I'm going to see the offer for the coffee shop. And I click on it. I link one of my credit cards, whichever one I happen to have or want to use, and then I go and buy my latte, and that's it. Nothing changes for anyone. I get a reward. The customer, the merchant got new business. Everybody's happy. You make some money. When you click the 10% cashback offer, you aren't buying or paying for anything. So get it. When they're linking their credit card offer, they're not spending the money right then. They're just saying, I'm going to get a reward when I do go to that merchant, if I do go. And if I go tomorrow, or if I go in 6 months from now. And you guys are going to get paid every time they go. Okay? So the consumer, I'm not looking at the I'm not looking at the questions. Is anybody?
No, we're good.
Okay. All right. So it just in a nutshell, again, the consumer just pays with their linked credit card. They get notified that there's a reward. The cash back is put into their bank account. Simple. Everybody's happy. Have you guys ever done this? Have you ever linked a credit card to anything? Gone to a restaurant, Starbucks? Yeah. No, you're too paranoid? So guys, one of the things that I always link my credit card to places I go all the time, which, like going to Petco or going to Starbucks. But here's the thing, I don't see those offers that often. So when I see a Starbucks offer, I'm going to link my card to that offer. And, I might not go because the Starbucks where I live now is 20 minutes away. So I don't go very often, and I may or may not even remember to use the linked credit card. So that's the thing for the merchant. One of the brilliant things about this for the merchant is people are going to see their branding everywhere. And it's just going to keep their business top of mind. So whether or not they even use the credit card that they linked doesn't even matter. You could not, even if you didn't drive them a single sale, they're getting branding all over the place, everywhere. I've got a new customer that's coming on board now that I doubt we're going to see much from them at all. And this is not, this isn't the greatest thing to say to the people who you're trying to sell the service to so that you guys make money with it. But as long as you understand the value it's bringing to the consumer and some of the value points that you can point out to them, it is literally a no-brainer for a business. There is not a single downside to this. There's things that people will, there are objections just like any other sales cycle, but they're so easy to overcome. This particular business is going to get paid mostly with insurance payments. He's not going to get a lot of payments with a credit card. So people are going to see him and call him from our advertising everywhere. And a good majority of the business that he gets, he's not going to have to pay for the marketing. I mean, he couldn't wait to sign up. And I didn't care. I mean, it's still another account for me. Whatever goes through, his credit card goes through, and I make that money. And it's one of the easiest sales I've ever made. Okay, there is transparent reporting. Remember when we talked about one of the biggest problems is not being able to prove that the work that you're doing is actually driving sales? This is in real time. Next slide, Sue, sorry. This is in real time. The reporting is exactly like they check out, and if they happen to be logged into their dashboard, they're going to see the transaction pop up. So they see the revenue that was generated, and then they see, it's so small, but they can see their pay per sale fee on there. And this one, I think this is this is just an example. But they will see month over month the traffic that we're driving, how many people have seen their ads, the customer views. Now, the customer visits, good. The customer views and visits, that's just crazy. When you can demonstrate that you're showing their ad to, 198,000 people, that's crazy. And then actually be able to show that you've driven sales, and they know it's real sales. We don't have to get into the technology, but we track everything through their merchant service account. So we know exactly what's being spent on these offers, and they can match this statement up to their merchant statement. The last four of the credit cards are shown, so they can match it up, and they can look at it, like I said, in real time. They can see it just pop up so they know who the consumer is. This is just literally the simplest thing that you will ever sell. It solves every problem, and it's when people are only paying for real sales that you can prove, the actual sale is extremely easy. And again, this is just actually breaking down the numbers. So the marketing side, say your customer is offering 10% off, and your marketing fee, the marketing fee that we charge is 10%. So the guest comes in and pays their bill. And in this example, it's a $10 bill just for ease of demonstration. The cash back is $1, so they get 10%, and the marketing side gets 10%. The business gets $8 out of every 10 we send them. It's guaranteed ROI, guys. They keep 80% of every sale. And of that 10% marketing fee, everybody gets paid. So the technology gets paid, you get paid, but you get the biggest portion of it. You get 4.5%. And then whoever drove the traffic. So if it was Bank of America that drove the traffic, they get a percent of it as well. Does anybody think that's kind of easy? The best thing since sliced. Yeah, there's a lot of programs out there that offer rewards programs like this, but what nobody else offers is, and you can almost be sure that any business that you're thinking of is not on this program because it's just started. There have only been for the first 2 years that this program was out, it was exclusively restaurants. And there are only 10,000, well, it's a few more now, but only 10,000 restaurants on this platform before they started bringing on other types of businesses. So literally, I started doing this, at the end of August, something like that. I have my exact dates, and I think I said them on the other webinar, but I got signed up with the very first round of people that were allowed to do this. And it took 3 weeks of training, and because it was brand new, for us to be allowed to sell. So literally I sold for about 5 weeks. And I don't know if we have this in the slideshow, but I actually won the top salesperson in that first round of people. I sold the most accounts. And we're going to tell you, if you get in with us, how that happened, how we did it exactly. And I went into great detail on the first webinar, but there's a lot more that we're only going to tell the people who actually get behind the scenes. So
we're actually going to have videos. We've been researching the best software to use, and we actually have an improvement over what Fran did, and we will give you blow by blow. We're setting up a training area that should be ready to go by Monday, and we'll give you blow by blow how to do the entire thing.
Yeah, and guys, there's ways. I see a comment in there, as long as the business has good margins. Yes and no. Restaurants are notorious for having low margins, but this is ideal for restaurants, and the training shows you exactly how to sell to that. Because it's when you're if you think about it like this, if you send a restaurant 5 new customers a day, their profit, that's the only way that they can improve their profit, because it's called incremental sales. They can't bring on more business in a traditional advertising way without costing them more money. So in this particular model, we're able to drive 3, 4, 5, 10 new customers in the door a day, and nothing else changes for them. Their costs don't change. They don't have to spend any more on help. They don't spend, the only thing that they spend more on is their food, the food that they're selling to the consumer, right? So this is the only way for them to grow their profit, and it's called incremental sales. So restaurants are perfect for this, and they're one of the lowest margin businesses on the planet. So just kind of reserve any kind of beliefs that you have about how you can sell to small businesses, because it doesn't count. It doesn't apply here. Okay, next. Did we do this one? Oh, just again, the reminder, the businesses are promoted on hundreds of websites, search engines, their offers are on websites, apps. The guests come in, and you have to tell people this multiple times, because just like you guys, they don't quite understand it. So you repeat it over and over again. The guest pays you directly, they pay in full, and then the revenue is shared. A small fraction of the revenue with us and the websites that are promoted, and then the business, the merchant, gets the rest. All right, and here are some case studies from some of the first big businesses that came on board. A sushi bar in California. And this is lifetime revenue. So you can see Starlight. You can see the numbers they just make sense, right? These are a lot of restaurants, because if you think about it, people just, when you're selling something that people use every day, multiple times a day, that's the thing that's going to make you the most money. This is a bluefin sushi bar. Even just this little ice cream shop, or whatever this thing is. Okay. Here's a couple of the bigger case studies. So Taco John's, in $250,000 in new revenue from what you did. Now, we haven't even gotten into the fact that these rewards programs increase average order value for your customer and help with retention, because people will get tired. They get tired of spending money at the same places, even if they love the business. So there's so much value that you're bringing. and we'll get in depth in the training, but just so you understand, average order value increased by 40% at a restaurant. Okay. Next one. This one is my favorite. This demonstrates how you're able to actually control a little bit of this process. So Jiffy Lube's first month it was just ridiculous. There was $250,000 in new sales that we drove. Now, it's a franchise and they had a marketing budget. So we had to kind of throttle it back so that we only sent $25,000 a month until they can renew their budget, because they could handle it. They're a huge business. And this is literally the biggest problem that you will have, and the reason that you need to stay close with your merchants and just be in communication and watch what kind of business you're sending them, because the worst thing you can do is give them more business than they can handle. So you want to make sure that you're sending them the right amount of traffic so that they can grow and they can handle the growth. So it's a good problem to have, right? You have to manage how much traffic you send to people. And again, Jiffy Lube, restaurants, Jiffy Lube is a big name. They're going to get a lot of traffic. Restaurants are going to do a lot of business. If you're putting on a heating and air conditioning guy, he's not going to make $250,000 in his first month. I mean, maybe if he's got a good name, he's in New York City and he's got 20 trucks, maybe that kind of business. But for your local 2 or 3 truck guy, you'll probably send him a few hundred or a couple $1,000s or $2,500 in sales, and he'll be happy as can be because he doesn't have to do anything. All right, and again, this is an actual client. The next slide is an actual restaurant that we brought on board. And, oh no, I'm sorry, this is a shoe company. This is the restaurant. Okay, so this little restaurant is doing, their first month, I think they did $2,500, and this was their lifetime. So they came on board, I forget when, basically September. They were the ones that got shut down for a few days. And panicked, made us turn them right back on. So this was about a 5 or 6 week period right here. It's just a little Thai restaurant, guys. You can really impact these businesses. You can really help them to get more business and grow. I think she would come to my house and hunt me down if I turned her off again.
Are we at a point where we can answer some questions yet?
Yeah, let's.
All right. So several people have asked, is this triggered only the very first time that once a credit card is tied by a client to a merchant, is that discount applied only the very first time or for the life of the customer?
It is for the life of the customer. Every time they go in there.
Yeah. So you can see where that would be useful as a client, but worry me as cannibalizing existing regulars. So, go ahead.
So here's the thing. Number one, we are going to have the opportunity to put limits in place sometime in the not too distant future. I'm not going to encourage people to talk about limits too much. That's going to be like a last resort because it will hurt you and ultimately it will hurt the merchant unless there's an absolute reason. Because, when I talk to my prospects, I want what's best for them, but I'm also not going to do something that doesn't make sense for me as a business owner either. But this thing, it's not like anything else you've ever sold. So if you're making less money, but you're not really doing a whole heck of a lot of work, it's just another revenue stream for you. So I had one merchant who was a medical spa, and we can't advertise actual medical services. You can advertise non-invasive, so chiropractors, dentists, weight loss stuff. You can do all that. So his facelifts and his surgical procedures, we can't advertise. And even though he's going to actually get business for surgical based on people that we drive in the door for, weight loss, cool sculpting, something like that. He didn't even, this was actually mutual. I brought it up first. I let him know that he could separate out his medical client services by simply just getting a different merchant service, a credit card scanner, because that's how we track it, is by the credit card scanner. So his medical services will go through one scanner, and everything else will go through the main primary spa scanner. So he's going to be tickled pink because he's getting all kinds of business that he's not having to pay for. And I'm happy because he's going to be making a boatload of money on the other side as well, and he's going to love me and stay here forever. And he's the kind of client, that's the kind of business that will grow. He'll open another location when we drive enough business. So you just have to balance it. But here's the thing. This product actually helps retain clients for the business. So we'll teach you how to talk about this particular point. But not only do they spend more money, but they stay with you longer. So there's a lot of good to letting your existing customers come back and continue to use the services. So we'll talk about all the different scenarios and how you would talk about it and when you might want to provide different solutions. But for the most part, it's a win-win for the consumer and the merchant. Anything else?
There's some I got to scroll back up for, but that's everything right this second.
Nick, this is perfect for reputation. Actually, we mentioned this before. We're going to offer, we're going to have something that goes along with this because really you want to, the people with good reputations will do the best on this. If they've got a lot of reviews on Yelp, if they've got a bad reputation, they just are dying to get on this program. So if you can help them with their reputation and then put them on the program, it works hand in hand. It's perfect fit together.
I think this was the shoe company, right? Did you want to talk about this little part that popped up on the top?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. I just wanted to point out that literally this is an online business. He's a shoe manufacturer. He doesn't really sell. He's got people who sell his shoes in their retail stores, but we'd have to bring that retail business on board to track their sales. So he sells 100% online from his website. And he went live, and the next morning I logged in. He went live, it was like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night my time. I don't remember, it was late. The next morning I logged in and he had a sale already. And this is how fast you're delivering results, guys.
Yeah. So we've had a couple of people say, can we list our services as well? And I think by that they mean digital agencies, digital marketing agencies.
No, this is mostly intended for brick and mortar businesses. There are exceptions. Like I said, the shoe manufacturer is an exception because he's a major brand and he puts enough revenue through his website. But it's an online to offline strategy. It doesn't really work for people selling digital services. If you have a store, or if you have your own little side business, if you have a business, if you're on this call because you want to promote your own business, then of course you can do it, and then you can get the commission back on your own sales. But it doesn't really work to have other things to help you grow your agency. But this is not fit for that. Okay, and this is where you join if you want to get on board with us, guys. We're going to do all the training is already there from beginning to end. If you get in on this, you are going to be able to start right away as soon as you finish the training. You just need to be aware that because we're dealing with the credit cards and with these major publishers, you have to understand and present this right. There's some mandatory pieces in the training you have to go through. And then as soon as you're done with that, you can hit the ground running and start selling. But you need to understand all the pieces, parts before you go to market. And I know everybody gets excited and they start talking about it to people that they know, and they don't have all the answers on how it works, and you might just be doing yourself a disservice. If you do mention it, just tell them that you've got this thing, and you'll be able to give them information in a week or so, depending on how long it takes you to get through the training. And I'm just guessing, I don't remember, but let's just say there's about 10 hours worth of, there's tons of training in there, everything you need to know. There's resources. I'm gonna have to mute myself. I think there's a truck driving by.
Okay. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff in the training area. There's videos, there's resources, there's all kinds of sales material too, which I've had folks ask me that question over the course of the last few days. But I just want to say, like, Fran never used any of the slide decks or the other sales material. She just got on the phone and talked to guys for about 15 minutes and just explained it similar to the way that she's explaining it to you today, quicker, more succinct, phrased a little bit differently, but the same kind of concept. And people just see that it's, pretty much an immediate yes. Like, why wouldn't you? So,
yeah, literally, guys. I mean, I saw you guys saying, a couple of you saying it sounds too good to be true. That is probably going to be the biggest objection that you have.
yep.
So people are not going to believe that. They always think that there's a gimmick to everything. So when you've got something real, that's going to be your biggest stumbling block, I think. So as long as you know what you have and you know how to explain it and you're confident and you're using the process that we know, because that's why I tested it. I'm not going out there selling this stuff anymore. I just wanted to test it. And yeah, I'm not going to turn away somebody who I've talked to before and comes back to me. Maybe I'll just give it to one of our agents. You can also put agents underneath you. So we've got a couple people selling for us underneath our account. So we're not going to be out there actively selling, but we want, and all the stuff that we're doing, we need to know how it works so that we can, in all good conscience, bring it to you. And if it works and it's something as incredible as this, we want you to know this is what's happening now. It's not something that worked 2 years ago. It's live, brand new now, and you guys are getting in the very beginning. And literally, 10,000 businesses are on this thing right now. And what I alluded to before, some businesses that you might approach might be on a rewards program, but this particular platform has dozens and dozens and dozens of publishing groups that you can offer in one fell swoop. And
Exactly.
if the merchant's doing this themselves, they're having to manage stuff directly with that rewards program. None of it is seamless like this. Nobody else has anything seamless like this.
So there was a couple of questions. Once somebody asked about the case studies, wouldn't the client cost be 20% instead of 10%? And this is just referencing the revenue fees of 10%. There's also between 5 and 10%, whatever the reward was, back to the actual customer in addition to that.
Right. They have to offer some kind of an incentive. We'll explain how we talk about that and what kind of incentives are allowed. But usually the 10%, the cashback offers work the best. So that's pretty much how we do all of them. But your merchant can do special promotions. If they wanted to advertise one particular event, or they have a grand opening, or they have a new stylist or something, they can do, their advertising doesn't have to be 10% off. That's just kind of a typical offer. So let me give you an example of, I keep talking about Starbucks. I did my home security system from a offer that I saw on Bank of America. I got $250 back for installing. Basically, I got a free, you know the deal. They all do the same thing, right? They install it for free and then they sell you the monthly service. So I got $250 back by clicking a button inside of Bank of America and calling the merchant that was associated with that and paying with that credit card. And when you guys can tell your stories about using these yourself, then the merchants start understanding, because most of them have used it. And if they haven't used it, they've seen it. So what you have to differentiate and make them understand is how valuable it is to their business, and increasing the average purchase order, the retention pieces, and there's actual backup, there's marketing material. And I have sent by email things like the Visa study that shows the increase in sales that was done. It's a 2-year study, and you'll have that on the inside.
So Paul asked, besides trying to sell to businesses, do we also go after the consumer to be aware of the credit card offers? And you don't really need to, because it is offered on so many platforms, and it'll pop up and it'll be targeted to the right demographic. So it's pretty much done for you. There are some interesting circumstances that I've talked to a couple of people about that we'll get into on the inside area. I want to talk to Edamar about some advanced concepts along those lines. But on the whole, like, the marketing is completely done for you. It's totally hands-free. there's...
We're asking for the link again. Can you go back to the last slide?
Yeah. And
No.
and the other thing that I want to say is the thing that we didn't talk about yet is between now and March, for every gold standard restaurant that you bring on, you're guaranteed $100 a month. And the reason you're guaranteed $100 a month, watch me not be able to find this image again. The reason you're guaranteed $100 a month is because they bring in really good money.
Yeah, and we have a document that shows you what a gold star restaurant is, and all that means is that they've got a certain number of reviews. There it is, a certain number of reviews, and correlates to the number of stars. So it's a $2 sign, so that's how much it costs, or greater, and they have X number of reviews and X number of stars. And you know that if it's a gold standard restaurant, it's almost guaranteed to make you money. It's actually, now it is guaranteed, because they're saying that if you don't make at least $100 a month by onboarding a gold standard, they will match what you're making, so that you're making at least $100 a month. So you're guaranteed stuff.
Yep.
Not just the merchant.
Yep.
And Itamar is talking about extending this. So, all right, guys, we also have the way this thing is working is to get joined the first time, it's either a lump sum or a 3-pay, and then everybody's going to have to rejoin up probably in a year from now, and it's a $67 a month thing in a year. But right now, just get in. By the time, literally 2 businesses that you sell between now and next year will pay for doing this. And you know what do we need? One more to pay for their next year?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just, if you got any hesitation or any questions, there's actually a link, or any problems. There's a link on that buy page to get with us if you need some, kind of special circumstances or something. But we set up a 3-pay so that pretty much anybody can get in. And as soon as you pay, it will take us about 24 to 48 hours to get you set up. Now we're saying that, but we're getting people set up pretty quickly, because it's a manual setup. And then once you're in, the training is there. All the umbrella training is there. Tons of live webinars. I was actually featured on one of the webinars, because after the first month, like I said, I was the top salesperson. But we are going to do, just for you guys, training on exactly what I did and all the details, and some sales training to go along with that. And Sue has something even better than what I was using.
Much evilness.
Yeah, and how to implement it. So.
Yep. So Chris asked an interesting question. The percentage that's paid out to these guys who are buying this program today, is that only by check, or is there a way for them to get it where they're overseas?
Yeah. I mean, we can do. Because you can be anywhere. It doesn't matter. You can get paid however it works internationally, Stripe or whatever. You just, when you get inside, you set up your payment information. If you're in the U.S., you fill out your W-9. If you're international, there's a different form for you, and then you just put in your bank information or whatever the payment is. And if for some reason your payment isn't suitable or compatible with what's inside, then we'll just we'll figure it out and do it manually.
Yeah. So inside the training, it talks about all of the best industries to target, and, well, more importantly, it talks about who's not qualified, and then we can give you feedback too on what worked for us and the kinds of things that we looked for and what we went after. So.
Yeah, and they literally do have the ideal businesses to go after, and there's people you can't do business with and ideal ones, and then there's a whole bunch in between. So my suggestion is just go for the low-hanging fruit. Go for the ones that are the ideal, because you'll make money right away. But you will also be able to just walk into the businesses that you do business with right now, the restaurants that you go to. You could just pick up the phone and say, hey, or just when you're at the restaurants, just say, hey, I'm part of the rewards program at Bank of America, and I love your food. I love your restaurant. I would really like to feature you. Can we get on the phone for 20 minutes sometime next week? I mean, literally, guys, you could have something sold as soon as you go through the training. And that one customer, if it's a restaurant, it's a gold standard restaurant, especially this one that's on that was on the screen here is not a gold standard restaurant, and they're still bringing me in gold standard money. You could make a sale and pay for your membership with one client.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of things out there that you can say that about. That your client makes money like instantly as soon as they're turned on. You can sell one client and pay for the whole flipping thing. And oh, by the way, you never have to leave your computer to do it.
You get paid out once a month.
And because I was on the initial thing, everything was slower, but they're all streamlined now, which is why we're offering this to you now. They got all the processes worked out. Alex, all the training should be in there. We'll have to get with you after. No, Shirley, if you need anything different, click the button. I don't know what it says, but let me go to the page. Click the button under having issues joining, and we'll get with you and see what you need. Welcome.
So this price is going to be up until next Tuesday. This is 25% off the regular price. Just trying to go back through. Oh, there's more new messages. Wait, what are people saying?
I can't see. I'm only seeing a couple messages on my screen. Oh, there they are. Yeah, the login will be sent to you, Raja.
Yeah.
And if you haven't, I think you were set up yesterday, actually, so you should have gotten an email. So we'll reach out and check on you afterwards.
All right, so I want to take a quick poll. Give me a 1 if there are people who cannot stand Facebook in this group.
We got a bunch of people just trying to join, so I'm assuming they're from you guys right now.
All right, so we have several people who cannot stand Facebook. So let me drop the Skype link. It's a very small Skype room at the moment. But let me.
Yeah, we can drop the replay in there too. We're just trying to keep this concise. I mean, we'll have a membership area for you guys because the groups, the Facebook groups right now have people who bought and other people who have not. So we will have an area that's just for the people who buy. But all this stuff right now, you can join the Facebook groups or the Skype channel, whether you're in or not. And if you have any questions, we can answer them afterwards.
Yeah.
And we'll put the replays. We can put the replays in both places.
Yeah, we will. Here is this Facebook group if somebody's not in Facebook yet. All right.
All right, guys. Anybody excited about this? About grabbing a share of $1 trillion industry? Being the first one.
Wow.
So
4% of $1 trillion. Wait, let me just maybe.
So if you understand literally, like, of all the businesses in the country, about, I don't know, say 11,000 of them are on this program. So I'm pretty sure no matter where you are, you have opportunities. And it doesn't even matter if you just want to go after one niche, and we've already started in restaurants. Chances are nobody in your area will be on the program. And once you get the hang of this and feel comfortable about talking about it, Then you start going after people who have multiple locations. And then we're talking about different kinds of money and franchises like the Jiffy Lubes. That's not Jiffy Lube all over the world, guys. That's Jiffy Lube in that one location.
Exactly. And if you've got questions about your training, just hit us up in Skype or Facebook. I know there's going to be webinars next week once we come off the special price and we've got everybody in that's going to come in with this group. Then Edamar said that he's going to do a special round of webinars for you guys.
Yes, Sandra, just click on that link for filling out the simple form, and we'll figure out if you guys need a different way to pay. Some people are asking besides PayPal. Some people are asking for more options.
Yeah, we can put up another option.
And I just want to answer this for everyone that somebody asked if holistic businesses are good for this. Yes, absolutely. Chiropractors, naturopaths, acupuncturists would be great. There are businesses that won't work, and we have a list of some that are restricted. But if you think about it, guys, a business that pays with a credit card, right? So somebody had initially gotten into the program and wanted to sell to real estate. Well, real estate sales don't typically happen with a credit card, but rental real estate does. So yeah, you just have to, we can talk about any of the niches. We had one yesterday that someone was asking about, and we just shot it into Empire to see if we could do it. We weren't sure, and I don't know if I got an answer, so I won't say what the niche is, but if you're not sure, we just ask. And if they can do it, they will allow us to do it. They want as much business as they can handle too.
Excellent. So we keep sharing these offline to online tactics. Absolutely. These and much more. So if there's anybody's questions I missed, there were a couple points in times where a lot of questions came through faster than my little scrolly thing could scroll. So, so if I've missed a question, please repost it. And if we don't manage to answer it on the webinar, put it up in Facebook or Skype and we'll answer it there. There are a few businesses that don't work. Pretty much anything that you can't run through an AdWords campaign isn't going to work well through this. So like no gambling, no adult, that kind of thing. Oops, there's more questions in the other box. Oh, I really don't like having two boxes. This is really annoying.
Uh-oh. I wasn't looking at the other box either.
Does this program work for recurring payments like monthly gym memberships? Absolutely.
Who creates the ads? Nobody really creates the ads. I mean, your customer, we do, and your customer can provide images or whatever, but like you saw with the examples, some of them are just get 10% off, at XYZ business. Some of them are going to be more creative than that. Some of them are just the logo and the words, depending on the type of publisher it is. Like just for example, Yelp, you're going to have different pictures on the Yelp profile or whatever. The Bank of America one is just going to be the offer itself and the logo. So we will do everything. The business is certainly welcome to contribute what they want said and the images for the sites that use the images. And those can be changed out. It's not like once it's done forever. But you guys literally do not have to do it. We can do everything for you on the back end, or the merchant can, the merchant can provide you with some information and you forward that on to Empire. And again, you still don't do anything except communicate between the merchant and Empire. Yeah, Chris, this is not about clicks. This is probably way early in the webinar, I would guess. Oh, no. It's just recent. How is the traffic gated? No upfront. I don't even understand the question. We literally pay, the merchant pays for nothing but actual sales.
Since he said traffic gated, I think maybe he's talking about how is it limited. And if the merchant needs to have the ads limited somehow, then they simply aren't shown as much. The merchant communicates that to you, you communicate it back through Umbrella, and they just bring the frequency down.
Right. That's why I wanted to give you that example of the oil change company that went from 250,000 in sales one month to 25,000. So Jiffy Lube could literally handle the sales, but they needed to knock it down because of their budget. So we can throttle them up or down. And this is also ideal for businesses that have slow periods. You can throttle the ad visibility and frequency and the number of sites it's on. So we can control, again, it's not an exact science. But if the merchant says that they want to spend $2,000 a month in marketing fees and consumer cash back, we can actually keep them at that point. It's not going to be exactly, if they say 2,000, it might be 2,100, it might be 1,900, but we can throttle it up and down.
So a couple more people have asked for the YouTube channel. So let me shoot that to you guys.
Oh, okay.
Auto repair client absolutely works for that.
So again, guys, if you're having any issues, I know sometimes if you're international buyers, sometimes you have issues with payments. Just fill out that form on the buy page at the bottom where it says having issues joining. Just fill out the simple form if you need any kind of help, questions about payments, anything, and we'll get back to you.
How do they determine impressions? I think you're talking about impressions of the actual ads, and that's easy to calculate because they're showing the ads on the different merchant accounts, Chris.
Yeah, they know, all the publishers are different, right? But every one of them is tracked. So they know how many times someone was shown the offer on the different platforms, and that gets reported back to the merchant in the dashboard.
Probably still not actually addressing his question, but
maybe clarify it for me then.
I'm thinking that, so like imagining that you're saying if there's 100 or 1,000,000 impressions, how do you determine who gets what? So it depends on the actual platform, because if you look at these samples, each one is showing ads differently. Case studies are, I'm going to make a stab and say here. Now let me find the case studies. Hang on, I'm off that tab on the other screen. Where we're actually showing different ads, like 17. So you can have, for example, on any one screen, you can have more than one ad show up depending on what the page looks like. So Yelp, you might see a couple different ads for a couple different things, or maybe just one. Some places you're only going to see one ad. Other places you're going to see 3 or 4 ads. Some of them have a splash screen as soon as you log in. So it's going to be targeted, it's geo-targeted, and it's demographically targeted. And my guess is, at least at the moment, there aren't more people wanting impressions. I mean, this is over 150,000 apps and websites, and 100 million people.
1,500 websites and apps.
isn't that what I said? Sorry, yeah, that's what I meant. 1,500 websites and apps, high trafficked websites and apps. So
yeah, people are not. They don't really. Nobody asks about their impressions, but they do love to see the reporting in the back end, and it's confirmation to them when we say that their ads being displayed and shown all over the place. They understand. They get the concept that they only pay for in-store sales, but their branding is everywhere. So they don't care. I mean, it's not even an issue. It doesn't ever come up. You're just thinking that, Chris, probably because you do so much in pay-per-click and pay-per-call side. It's pay-per-revenue, a completely different animal. And because these businesses are geolocated, they're going to be sending them to, they're regional for the most part, right? There are some national businesses, but each ad is only being shown in the right region, right? So even if it's a national company, they're going to have multiple different properties. Go ahead.
yeah, the other thing he's asking, the impressions based off of conversion rate. It's more like the higher the gold standard people are going to get displayed on more websites because of the standard of the site, the standard of the business. That determines things more than conversions, as far as I know at this point. Like, this program is literally so new, and I don't know if you guys are aware, but on the side of the business that I'm on, where I sell a lot of software and I look at how much the stuff we sell gets used, there's only about 5 to 7% of our sales where people actually get in and do something with it. And this has only been introduced to a very small group of people, right? There's only like 3 groups of people. You guys are the 3rd group of people that this has been introduced to. There are not many people in this program, and so of the people that are in this program, there's a handful of them that are actually doing anything. So the number of businesses that have been brought into this program are extremely small. So there's not any competition, at least at this point. There is no significant competition between businesses. There aren't 10 restaurants in the same area that are all competing for the same ad space. And what that's going to look like, at what point do we reach saturation, and what happens at that point? Like, does the program cease to be offered, cease to be sold? How do they define saturation? I haven't really run those things by Itamar yet, because I think we're just so far away from any kind of saturation that it's not.
We're growing on the other side as well, so they're adding more publishers at the same time. So the platforms are you're getting more expansion. Somebody is asking about recordings. Yes, this will be recorded. No, for the person who's asking about mail order companies and Shopify stores, unless they have a physical store, or in certain cases, if they're big enough, if they're big enough companies as far as revenue, then it could work for them. That'll be case by case. New businesses are always opening. Plus, we're not even close to servicing the ones that are there already.
No news type sites that I'm aware of, because these are more like websites that you have to log into. That's where, because the ads are specific, because the ads are targeted, they're being shown to people who actually log in, so that they've got information on the person to whom the ads are being shown.
Somebody asked if this will work for an auto repair client. It's perfect for auto repair. Obviously, it's perfect for oil change, since we showed that example of Jiffy Lube. Nick was asking about the consumers getting a back office. No, that doesn't apply, Nick, because the consumer is just, they go to their bank statement, their credit card statement.
Yeah, they see it on their credit card immediately.
Well, they don't necessarily get their reward immediately.
Well, I thought they did.
Some platforms deliver immediately, like the one that I got for my my security system. It took a month for me to get that back.
Okay.
So it just depends on the company and the merchants and the publishers. How does the business know it had a conversion? They get a back office. They see in real time somebody walked in and used the offer.
No hacks that I know of yet, but you know me, we will always be investigating hacks as
What do you mean? We have hacks.
well. The particular one that Chris was talking about, hacks to maximize revenue.
Oh, well, yeah, there's lots of things you can do.
Yeah.
Somebody asked about the franchise bonus. There's training in there already, and we will expand on that. Yeah, somebody said that the consumers get automatic notifications. It just depends. It depends on the product that they bought and the platform. There's so many different platforms, guys, and this is the challenge to making something like this work, which is why nobody else has this. This is why merchants have to go to each individual publisher to get onto their rewards program, or some of them have little groups. Like one group might have 10 different rewards programs, but the reason that nobody else has 1,500 and growing, because the technology required to manage publishers who do things differently is extremely complicated, and not many people are up for something like that. I mean, Sue's software developer, she knows how complicated this stuff gets when every platform you're attached to has a different set of rules and they perform differently.
So,
there will be something where you can offer this as an affiliate, but you have to be inside before you can do that.
So somebody was having problems with the link to the help desk, which I haven't tried in the last week. So I put my Skype and my email into the chat. So if anybody's got questions, if you're on Skype, hit me up on Skype. That's going to be the fastest way to get a hold of me. If that's not an option, then that email account is relatively new, so it doesn't have a whole lot of spam stuff in it. I'll see your emails pretty quickly. Total disruption domination, exactly.
Okay, guys, asking about different countries. Right now we're working on getting Canada set up, but again, right now it's in the U.S. 100%. No matter where you're at in the U.S., you can do it. Canada will be coming on board, but you can be anywhere and sell this. So the only thing I will tell you is it will make sense for you to be working with businesses that are as close to your time zone as possible. So depending on where you're at in the world and how often you want to work, if you set it up like I did with your calendar with only specific times where people can contact you, then you can control when people try to reach out for you. And the way I did it, and I'll show you inside, is I literally I had a form for them to fill out that gave me the information I needed, and I reached out to them. I called them. So I wasn't sitting around waiting for them to call me and miss appointments, and I sent reminders.
So Whitney gave me a very evil idea. For everybody who buys right now on this webinar today, I will personally send you a whip.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, there's some people here who don't know you and your whips.
I don't think so. All of those people that said, oh, what? They all know me.
She didn't say she was going to use it on you. Okay.
I'm going to send it to you. You're going to be able to do your own market domination.
Or you could just hang out with me and I will send you a puppy instead. Yes, she will use it on you. Everybody likes your whips and nobody likes my puppies. Fine. See, Ella does not like that. All right, guys, we've been on here for a really long time and we really appreciate you spending this time with us. It is one of the most exciting programs that I have ever seen. And I did not invest a lot of time in this. And I will show you exactly what I did. And I will guarantee you, if you get in and you do the work, you will have success with this. I'm not going to guarantee you any particular amount of income or any particular number of clients, but if you've never sold another thing before, this is going to be the easiest thing that you've ever done. And if you have an agency, it'll be the easiest add-on that you've ever had, and it's the ultimate foot in the door product. So we're not stopping and saying that this is your business to sell this, right? You get into a business and you sell something, you give something away that generates income, and you do exactly what you say you're going to do, and this business owner trusts you. And next thing you do, depending on the business, then you've got other services. You do other things for businesses because they don't just need one way of generating clients. And they certainly don't need just new clients walking in the door. They may need websites updated. They may need social marketing. They may need, whatever, video marketing. And we've got a lot of other evil things in the future.
So is what we're offering, the training and the software to manage these different networks and offers. So all of that is handled automatically. Like that's a behind the curtain kind of a thing. Like everything is managed without you needing to manage anything. The training that we're going to give you, the training that we are going to give you, that Fran and I are going to give you, is how to automate what the program tells you to do. So in other words, the program tells you who to look for and how to contact them and what to say to people. And we show you how to take that from slow time into world domination time.
Yeah, there's only one reason I was the number one person. It's because everybody else was doing it one at a time. I was not.
Yep.
All right, guys. Get in the Skype room or in Facebook for any other questions. Fill out that simple form if you have any trouble joining. And for the ones who have joined, we will get you submitted as soon as possible today. And it will take us about 24 to 48 hours, not us, Empire, to get you set up. And you will get an email. If you wait more than 24 to 48 hours, give us 48 hours now because a bunch of people will probably join today.
Oh my, yes. There are people who want whips. Oh my.
Yeah, that's the reason people are going to join, for the whips. Guys, you're missing the point here.
Yeah, okay. So the whips only so long as until we hit the stop button here for another 5 minutes, because this is getting to be quite a number of whips.
All right, guys. So get in, and if you have any issues or questions, get in one of the groups, and we can leave this open for a few minutes so that Sue will put the 5-page back up.
Oh yeah. Let me do that. Good point. It's a good thing somebody here is on top of things. Keep me in line. All right. Excellent. Okay, I'm gonna.
That's like the hit of the whole webinar. So. All right, guys. We'll see you in the inside and then in the groups.
Yep. Thanks so much, everybody.
Thanks, guys.